Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Spawncast episode 396. We're going for 90 minutes tonight, mostly because I'm already gonna stretch the voice for that one. Like click R3 towards the end was a fight, but I got through it. So we're still rolling with podcasts, still doing the videos. The prognosis was the what is it, like a mild form of laryngitis, and the solution apparently was to not talk. Then that's kind of a problem. So they said, cut it down then for anything you have to talk. So that's why we're doing 90 minutes tonight. Okay. But I figure we would will it down to a couple of big topics that happened this week. And there was a lot that happened specifically with Nintendo. So I did want to bring in Mark from Sunbro Nation. He was on Game and Talk. They had a good show there. I said, you know what? Let's get him on Spawncast as well for the week. How are we doing?
Doing great. John, Sean, Josie, Evan, excited to talk to you guys today. I've been a big fan of the show for a very long time, so I'm happy to be here, and especially when it's talking about something that I literally almost talk about daily for part of my living. So excited to be here. Thank you.
Good to have you here. We also have Josie. Josie returning to the show.
Yep, glad to be back. I've just been randomly busy and moving and stuff like that, so ready to be here. I'm pretty sick too. Not as bad as you for sure, but I just sound like crap, so.
Okay, so it wasn't just me. It doesn't even hurt to talk. It's just whenever I go to talk, I don't know what's about to happen. Like if sound is going to come out. So that's the issue I have right now.
Yeah, I just sound kind of gross, so I don't know.
Well, we got Sean, of course, RGC85 with us.
And I'm not sick. I feel fantastic. I took a nap this afternoon, ready to go. Go Knicks.
That's the other thing. It works out for Sean too, because the Knicks play at 7:30. So the 90-minute thing works fine for him. Then we have Evan. Evan's with us. Good to have Evan here. So as I mentioned, there is a lot of Switch stuff, a lot of Nintendo stuff, CES technically mixing into that. We have the Xbox Developer Direct that was announced for later on this month. And then we have all kinds of games that Nate decided to randomly drop on a Friday. So a lot of first-party Microsoft stuff. And then also Square Enix getting in the mix. So it is kind of all over the place here on a Friday. So I do, of course, want to give a shout out to the members over on the Spawncast Network. Make sure you check them out there, because we will also be doing a mailbag episode like we did last week. That worked out really well with Sean and I. People really seem to enjoy that one. So we're going to do another one as questions are coming in now over there. So I put a post up. You can drop some questions in and we'll feature it in a video and then post it up separately for like a little Spawncast mini episode. So I do want to go around though to start, just to kind of see what everyone's been up to in terms of what they've been playing. Oh, thanks, Sean.
Fuck you.
The black market Switch, yes. What have we been up to? I know Sean, I already know what he's been playing. Well, really what system he's been playing, but like, I guess just in general.
Yeah, a lot of Dreamcast. Finished up Shenmue on like someone on this panel. Did you find the Sailors yet, Josie?
No, I haven't played more since we talked about it last time.
All right, well, let's get on it this weekend.
I did start up a playthrough
yeah.
with Shenmue as well, Sean.
Good, everyone.
Oh, look at that. We're all doing it.
It's great. It's a great game, dude. I wanted to play Code Veronica again because I haven't beaten it in a very long time, and I thought that I screwed myself. I'm on disc 1 still, but I'm at the end of Jill's thing, and spoiler, there's a tyrant, and all I had was a handgun and a knife, and I was like, oh, I'm screwed. And then I watched this Asian speedrunner who just did it with a knife, and I'm like, well, if he can do that, like, I got a gun, so I should be able to make some headway. So I finally beat the first portion of the Tyrant, and now I'm on the airplane section of the Tyrant, which is more just a time-based thing, and you kind of got to cheese it. But yeah, I should be done with Jill's thing probably tonight, hopefully, if I can get it down and then move on to Chris's disc. But I'm just having fun playing Dreamcast stuff. Like there's and of course, Grand Theft Auto 3. Been messing around on that. Like that's just such a weird experience. And like you can get into Dreamcast stuff. Like if you don't want to emulate it, which like I understand that some people don't. Like I'm planning on making a video of like a budget build because it's my build, and like, HD out every game on it pretty much for, under $300, and then something else that I bought if you want to get a little bit more out of it. But yeah, it's just a great system, man. It's crazy that it was only around for like 2 years, and there's so many damn games on it, like so many.
There are a lot. Yeah. That was that interesting time period between PS1 and PS2.
Oh, Claire,
So, like,
sorry. I said Jill. I meant Claire.
oh yeah. So like the Dreamcast wasn't it, like in terms of visuals, it didn't have necessarily some of the stuff that the PS2 had, but it definitely had better than the PS1. So it's like this weird in between.
I don't know,
time
man.
period
If you look at some comparisons of
Mm.
because a lot of you got to remember, especially early PS2 games, they were interlaced. They were 480i, where if you had the ability to play your Dreamcast in 480p mode, like the colors and shit still look phenomenal on it. Like I'm still impressed at some of the because I actually booted up. I have at some point in time I bought Code Veronica X on my Xbox, so I was messing around with that, and I was like, I mean, I got a Dreamcast, I might as well play it on there. But like I think some of the lighting actually looks like a little bit better in the original than it does in the Xbox version. So it's a very interesting system.
The image looks sharp, like really, really clean. Like if you get the right
Yeah.
setup, it looks sharp. The thing that always got me though, and it's funny, I look at this generation from PS1 and N64 to PS2, GameCube, Xbox, are the characters' hands and like their fingers, how much they can move them. Because of the Dreamcast, they had separate fingers for some of the games, but they can't move them. So that was always the thing that got me.
I mean, it's, it might be cold out. You got a little frostbite. If you move your fingers, they'll fall off.
Dude, NFL 2K is hilarious because they can't move their hands. So they hold the football like this. It's so funny.
I think NBA 2K is funnier with that because there's less people and you're more close in, so you kind of see. I've been messing around with some of the Dreamcast sports games just because, I mean, back in the day, dude, like I remember I went to see Pecker Dupree in Georgia, and he had just gotten a Dreamcast and NFL 2K, and I was like, is this real? Like, is this an actual video game? Because I mean, the leap from the N64 PS1 to that was just mind blowing.
It was. Oh, that's Sean with his Dreamcast as he continues to explore the library over there.
YouTube.com.
Yeah. And also, let's go over to Sunbro.
Yeah,
over there.
I'm kind of all over the place right now. So I got a PS Portal for Christmas, which was cool because it's one of those things that I was like not going to buy myself, but it was something I wanted to check out. And happy to report that after plugging in my PS5 through Ethernet, it's pretty usable. But there is a legitimate difference. And with fiber internet, I noticed as soon as I plugged in through Ethernet, that like 2 millisecond whatever input delay I was noticing that just really stuck out. It's still like not native, but it's really close. So Astrobot I've been going through, and then just because I was like looking for another kind of Souls-ish game that I haven't played in forever to go through, I restarted Bloodborne, made it past Bloodstarved Beast, and got my Ludwig Holy Blade. Anyway, I cannot wait to replay that game. I wanted to wait for a remaster, but it's probably never coming. So I decided to go back through that, and then just restarted the other night Metroid Prime 1 because I have a whole issue with my first playthrough of that. I went through it on the remastered as soon as it dropped and went for a 100% file run and completely missed one of the scans in the second or the Chozo Ruins boss that's like the flower creature.
That's all it takes.
Not only do you have to scan the boss itself, but also the tentacles that come up out of, like, it's a separate scan. So I was completely devastated when I realized this walking into the final boss fight, going through and making sure I had done everything. So that was pretty traumatic. And I'm going to try to get that 100% file posted in anticipation for, I think, hopefully if we get a February direct, we might finally get Prime 2 and 3. And I want to have 100% file on those walking into Prime 4 whenever that drops. So that's it lately.
Good stuff. What about Josie?
Yeah, just Shenmue, a lot of Shenmue.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, like not a ton, I guess, but some. And then
Hold on a minute. Where are you in Shenmue? You're not going to spoil it for me or Sean, or well, you might spoil it.
I'm
for
at
people,
the sailor part. That's what Sean was giving me heat about it.
Okay.
So I'm like trying to find the sailor right now. I was pretty convinced that I did find him, and then Sean told me that I actually didn't find him. So still looking for that.
She found the dudes in the arcade.
Okay.
They're not.
He has
sailors.
a tattoo, so that's what I assumed. But yeah, apparently not. So I got to find them, and then I've been playing a lot of Fortnite. They changed up the movement there, so it's been kind of fun to get back into. Dip my toes a little into Marvel Rivals.
Marvel Rivals. You're playing that, huh?
Yeah, a little bit. I don't know. My friends kind of like it. It's kind of weird, but I don't I don't know. I've never been super into like the shooters like that, the 5-on-5s, but I don't know. It's all right.
People have really been going crazy over that game. Disney's got something there with them and NetEase.
Yeah, they do.
It's-
Disney's been going crazy because they're like in the battle pass for Fortnite this season
Yeah.
too. That's the reason I got it because I can get Baymax. So
They have like Indiana Jones. Like their licensing is really working right now. So
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, and then I beat Astrobot. finally.
oh, there we go. Okay, because
Yeah.
before it was like you played an hour of it, and then all of a sudden you beat it.
MVG aired me out for that one. I did like it. I didn't have very much time. But yeah, I finally beat it. That game was awesome. It was super fun.
It's
I
good,
like
right?
the boss
Yeah,
battles
yeah.
and stuff. Yeah.
So you're good for that game. That game won Game of the Year. You're good with that?
Yeah, I think it makes sense. I mean, well, for the Keeley Awards, I was very shocked, but like it's a great game. So yeah, I don't know. I want to
is a
play
great
Black Myth. I just got that game, so I'll be playing that game.
Oh wait, you're gonna play Black Myth Wukong.
Yeah, it
Interesting.
looks pretty good.
You
Interesting.
should get the
Okay,
Switch
okay.
version. The Switch version. It looks really
No, no.
good. Yeah.
Solid side scroller.
Yeah.
Interesting. I'm really curious because I was trying. I haven't like people are on the podcast stuff here. No one else has really played Black Myth Wukong. I thought MVG would have grabbed it right away. He still hasn't played it, so you'd be the next one up. I'm curious.
Okay.
I'd be curious what your thoughts are on that game.
You know what's weird is I keep getting a lot of TikToks about it, and everybody's like, "This is the best game ever," and like, just people love it. So I was like, "Okay, I'll try it out."
A
And then,
little,
like,
little overblown. I'll be real with you. A little bit.
that's what I
overblown on
figured.
that
It seems
part.
a little, hyped up, but I don't know. I've never been a big Souls person, so I guess I'll try it.
It's not quite like a Souls game. There's
I
some
heard it's like
elements
not necessarily as hard, right?
kind of like a boss rush action game. No, there are two boss battles. I was like, man, this is actually pretty difficult. But for the most part, it's not as bad. No.
Yeah.
As Souls
For
games.
me, it was just close enough to a Souls style combat system that it actually was making me mad because it wasn't the FromSoft like super precise
Okay.
dodge roll controls that I'm so used to. So I couldn't like wrap my brain around exactly getting in and out of enemy attacks and stuff the way I wanted to. So I really enjoyed it, but I didn't get more than probably 4 or 5 hours in. And I know you get more chain combos and everything. It is more like, what would you say, like almost God of War action style as your skill tree progresses, kind of. It's not exactly Souls like, but it was just close enough that it was actually frustrating me personally.
Yeah, it was took me I think 45 hours to beat it.
Nice.
Oh
It's
shit!
a long
that's
it's a
big
longer game
That's
too.
it's
Yeah.
long. Yeah, that's long. I didn't realize it was that long either.
There's a lot to that game. Like
I'm gonna try to go back to it.
there's some like side quest stuff you can do and other things. So there's a lot going on. I thought Evan would have been all over that game too.
Nah.
Oh no. What actually that's a good question. Evan, what have you been playing?
All my buddies got me into Path of Exile too, so just broke 100 hours in that. So it's
Actually that sounds kind of light, to be honest, based on what I'm seeing online. You must have just got that game.
2 weeks ago. Yeah.
Yeah, see, so that people are posting up how they're like super into that game right now.
Yeah. It's got issues though. There's so many buggy crashes recently, and I mean they just got back from vacation, so hopefully that gets fixed. The class I chose is not in a good situation because there's a lot of sort of other classes near it that I kind of need if I want to really explore some ideas with builds. But it's all
early
right.
access right now, right? It's early access.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like $30 or something, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, if you get 100 hours, that's pretty good for $30. So that's good. That's kind of I saw that game pop up and I saw you like playing. I was like, yeah, it makes sense. That all lines up. So, oh man. Well, I did pick up Freedom Wars. I started that. It very much looks like a Vita game that they upscaled, but it's fine. It's what I remember it to be, where you play. It's kind of like Monster Hunter, sorta, but they do have they mostly deal with like the military. So you have like your standard guns and the thing that has always been funny about it is they sort of troll you. Like if you try to lay down and go to sleep, they add on 10 years to your sentence. So you have a prison sentence of 1,000,000 years in the beginning. And you can actually have some tacked on as you do things you're not supposed to. And then you can have some of it taken off depending on some of the missions you go through as well. So the idea is eventually you free yourself by essentially going and saving other students and people who are part of that facility. But it's been a lot of fun so far, a couple hours in. But there's another game I'm playing now that I can't technically talk about currently. So that's where a lot of my time's been going to.
So why bring it up?
What,
You
the
could-
game
you
I
could've
can't
just
talk about
said-
right now?
Yeah, you could have just said, "Oh yeah, I'm just playing Freedom Wars."
Because I typically play, like, for the amount of stuff that I've usually play, that Freedom War stuff, couple hours seems like light work.
It's what's coming out
So.
soon. Let's see if we can guess what you're playing.
Hey, you can take a guess. We also have Dragon Quest 3 HD2D. I'm still continuing on that. That's the treadmill game, so I just play it as I do that. But I'm like 20 some odd hours into that one. Great game though, very good. Sean's looking. He's looking. He's looking.
No, I haven't. Is it something coming out soon?
Yeah, it's out next month.
Next month. Interesting.
Next month. Next month.
So it's obviously a bigger game because they wouldn't give you, what today is the 10th? Yeah. So it's not like an action game or something like that. So we're gonna skip past all
Probably the
that.
Switch
sort of
2
stuff.
launch title.
No, he's not that cool.
Yeah, it's Mario Kart 9.
Nintendo loves. Yeah.
I don't know. All this shit says Q1, and I'm tired of looking.
Okay, that's fine. You'll find out in a bit. I cannot confirm or deny. So.
Oh, there it is.
What?
There it is.
Is that Pirate Yakuza? I can't confirm or deny.
Yep, that's it.
They should have just called it Yakuza Like a Pirate.
Yeah, that I will admit that title is kind of like annoying to say over and over again. Like a Dragon, Pirate, Yakuza in Hawaii or whatever. That's a really annoying title to say over and over again. Well, one game that was coming out next month is now coming out in March. Assassin's Creed Shadows. It has been delayed. By the way, everyone here on the panel, we do have their channels and stuff linked down below in the description. So if you'd like to check anyone out, make sure you do so. It's down there. Go give them a like and comment on the latest video. Say Spawncast sent you. But Assassin's Creed Shadows delayed again. It was supposed to have come out in November. Then it got pushed to, I believe, Valentine's Day or February. Now it's in March 20th. And they just said that, hey, another month, give them time to polish the game further, which I do not believe that is why they did it.
No.
Ubisoft, man,
they're not in a good place right now. And I mean, I think they need this game to be very successful. And I don't think it's going to be as successful as something like Valhalla was.
No, not Valhalla. No, that made $1 billion for them.
Right.
Wow.
It's not doing that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm still interested in checking out the game, but there's such a, is it maybe they think that the longer they wait, the stigma will, and this, that, or the other will wear off, and people like, I don't understand. I don't understand what you're doing in a month, unless you don't like the games that are coming out in March or in February. But it just seems like this year is going to be one of those years where no matter what month you pick, there's going to be something coming out that's, going to potentially encroach on your perceived audience.
Yeah, the issue is it was coming out in February alongside a bunch of other games. And I guess they're thinking, hey, if we push it into March, we can avoid a lot of that stuff. But stuff always comes out in March every year. So eventually it's going to come out and there's going to be games around it, it's so weird because Assassin's Creed used to be a game that other publishers would be like, okay, when's Assassin's Creed coming out? Let's deal around that. Not the case now. But you're right, Sean. I am curious to check this game out because the fact that they've delayed technically from November to March now, I mean, it feels like it should be a game that comes out and is not broken at launch. Like it should be a quality release.
It'll have a day one patch. It'll be good.
Yeah.
It will. Absolutely will.
Because by that mantra, Cyberpunk should have been a fucking masterpiece on consoles.
No, that's true.
It was delayed a ton.
The problem is these companies keep referencing that 2020 time period when like the pandemic hit, everyone was inside, everything did way better than it usually did with its franchise history. And Valhalla came out right then.
That's why these companies, like, I don't mean to be mean, but they deserve some of this. Because if you're sitting there, that would be like us being like, oh, my views are going to be the same as they were in 2020 because everyone's watching YouTube because nobody can do anything else and they need some sort of escape. Like, that's not a realistic thing to think. And anyone who thought that probably shouldn't be running a fucking company. Like there's no justification to think that way whatsoever. And the fact that so many of these companies did it's fucking scary is what it is. Like, I don't get it.
Yeah.
What do you guys think the chances are that Ubisoft gets bought out in 2025 or new ownership?
They want it. That's what they want.
That's what it feels like. It feels like that. And it feels like their confidence is so shook that they're ready for somebody else to come in and run the show.
Do they get bought out or do they get liquidated like THQ?
I think there's still some value to them, whereas THQ is kind of in like a complete downward spiral. But I don't know.
There are intellectual properties there that are valuable. Like Splinter Cell should be in such an incredible place right now, and they just fumbled that franchise bad. Same with Prince of Persia.
Yeah,
that's another one.
But is it better to keep all those under one house that gets repurchased, or would maybe, I don't know, EA pick up one and someone else pick up another, and maybe we start seeing it from different directions?
You're right. Just start piecemealing the thing out. Like, I can't believe, like, Rainbow Six, they're so lucky that Siege just happens to have people playing it at all times. But that game, if you sign in and play it now, it feels so old because it's from 2016, and they haven't done anything with it since. Like, they've updated it, but they haven't been like, okay, it's been 8 years, let's make a new one. It's just kind of been sitting back and watching it. Whereas they'll make a new Division game every few years, it seems like. But the only issue with Ubisoft is they have 20,000 employees, and I have no idea who wants to buy in and take on all of that.
Yeah.
Why do they have that many employees? It's
their reputation is so damaged too. Like Prince of Persia, The Lost Crown was one of my 2024 like top games of the year. And when I made my video on it, so many people were like, well, it might be great. And you might be telling me it's one of the best Metroidvanias you've ever played, but I will never buy a Ubisoft product ever. Just hands down, period. You know, that's like the reputation amongst many gamers now, which is wild. It was not like that back in the day.
No, it wasn't. He used to be excited. Watch Dogs, fuck yeah.
So when was the shift?
Fuck yeah.
The shift was over time for a long period of time. There was an RTS game I picked up from them like a decade ago. It was one of the first that required online connection at all times for a single player RTS game, that it was like a bad connection. Jesus. So you were constantly like getting kicked out of your game because like a split second would just kick you from a game. And that was Ubisoft. They were like, yeah, we want DRM. It's like, okay, yeah, this is going to do well for you guys.
Yeah, Ubisoft used to be such a big like powerhouse in the industry. Like they would release games and it was incredible when they did. And now it's just, I don't know, it's so disappointing their position currently. Like they've lost like 90% of the value of their company in the last 10 years or something. It's insane. So it's unfortunate.
That's business. That's consumer driven business.
It is unfortunate. So they quietly released an NFT game that people didn't realize, and they threw it out there and it broke immediately. And they just never say anything about it, which is hilarious. One of the figures went for like $4,000 or something, was someone was trying to sell it for, and it's so stupid, the whole thing. So hey, good luck to Ubisoft. I assume it feels like everything is riding on Assassin's Creed Shadows. So
how many units do you think that they want to sell? That they need to sell in order.
They want 100 million. They will 5.
How many?
Yeah,
I wouldn't. I bet you their minimum is like they want to sell 10 million copies. I feel like they expect to sell what Valhalla did, and that's like 20 million copies.
What are the chances it sells 20 and then they say they're disappointed or underwhelmed with the sales results after compared to expectations?
I feel like they'd be so careful about what they say about Assassin's Creed because they still have like 7 games in development or something crazy of Assassin's Creed. Yeah, that there was a report that said they had like almost 10 Assassin's Creed games in development. So I think they'd be really concerned about like slandering that game, that franchise. They'd be like, well, it came in around expected or something like that, just to be careful. So I'm thinking like this is like a 10 million unit seller, and then Ubisoft like hopes that they can get it on sale and get the number up higher later. So that would be my assumption. But,
Yeah,
I think
when
it gets
and
to
we'll
10
see in
million.
March.
I think it gets to 10 million after a sale because they always drop the price like a month
Yeah.
after.
Yeah.
It'll probably hit 4 at peak, and then that's it.
Yeah, that's 3 to 4. I think is the peak for this.
That's
You
another
think
one of
3 to
their
4
problems.
million?
No, like for the initial price point.
Yeah, before they
Oh,
give it
yeah.
a big cut, and then it starts going up.
Yeah, like they've conditioned everybody to know that their games are going on sale right away to the point where you kind of feel dumb buying a Ubisoft game day one, which
Man,
sucks if you're hyped for it, you know? Like,
Yeah, and everyone brings this up, and they still just do it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't-
it's wild.
Let's go over to the Switch 2, which was everywhere this week. You could not go. I want to say you couldn't go 12 hours without something popping up. This might be one of the most. I don't know. It must be one of the most leaked systems in general before an announcement. I mean, we kind of know what the system looks like. Dimensions are flying around. People are making concepts that are really, really close, apparently. And there's pictures coming out of the factory every other day, it feels like. So at this point, the fact that CES 2025 was all about Genki and their mock-up was insane.
What is people talking about My Arcade? All those My Arcade products out there?
My Arcade needs to be stopped. There's some foolishness coming out of that company.
They follow me on Twitter. I really thought about following them back and being like, look, you need to talk to someone like me before you're doing this stuff, because
some of your Sega business plan.
Some of this, no, just for ideas and concepts, like run it by me. And, you know, not to say that I'm the be all end all, but I feel like I can help a little bit more than they realize, because some of those things, man, are just like, why? Not to say all
the
their stuff
8-inch Capcom Bandai Namco device, the handheld. It looks terrible.
It's not necessary. But they're also doing the Game Station Pro that has the Capcom games on it with Bandai Namco games on there as well. It's like a console thing. That's not a terrible idea. But your handhelds are not good. They're not aesthetically pleasing. They're too big and bulky. I saw pictures. I don't know, but you remember the NES thing that they made, the portable NES. Allegedly, they have a Genesis Super Nintendo combo in that same style, where on the top you plug in Super Nintendo and on the bottom you plug in Sega Genesis, or vice versa. I can't remember which it was, but it's like, no. What are you doing? Please.
Their handhelds have like that CVS checkout line look to them.
Not even checkout line, one of those back aisles no one goes down.
Yeah. I mean, CES looked interesting. There was some cool stuff there. A lot of it was crazy expensive. Like I've mentioned that LG OLED that's transparent is $60,000. I mean, it's, you know, no one's really buying that, but it looked cool. We had the NVIDIA cards that were shown, which surprised people because those weren't $60,000. But then we did have a lot of the stuff around the Switch too. Genki was a big one there, and they advertised their booth heavily with that thing. That plastic mock-up got publications showing up with tape measures. IGN was posting pictures of it. The Verge took a picture of it. So in their mind, for doing that, they got the traffic. But Nintendo did eventually take notice because a newspaper in Japan did reach out for comment, and they said they're not official. And I saw some people mention this online. I even saw a comment about it. Genki broke down their entire like setup at CVS or CES, and they took off. They're gone. So the call came in.
I mean, no, to be fair, maybe they only signed up for a couple of days.
I could be wrong. I thought it was on their actual like advertisement, their first like announcement that they were going to be there, through a few days or however long it was going. I'll have to go
things can change, maybe.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Things definitely changed.
Well, somebody put out an official PR statement too from them saying that their consoles based off the leaks, not this black market Switch 2 that they went around running around telling people they had. So
it's just so dumb. They should have never fucking said that.
Someone's lying or Nintendo showed up knocking, you know.
Genki,
I would definitely.
We literally talked a couple of days ago. Talk to me. I can help.
I mean, if you're Nintendo, you kind of have to start inquiring about that. Hold on, there's one on the black market. What do you mean?
Oh yeah.
What are you talking about? And I'll start
And they kind of
asking questions.
They kind of implied, they were like, hey, listen, if you got the cash, like they were like, yeah, you just got to pay for it. Specifically name dropping Las Vegas. Like people are going around, hey, who do I talk to about a black market Switch 2? How much money is it?
Yeah.
Don't we know someone who lives in Las Vegas?
Do we?
Who's big on the black
MVG
market?
out there.
Hey, I didn't say it. I didn't say that.
MVG went to CES. He was taking pictures and making the rounds, but I don't know if he went by the booth and was asking about the black market.
He might be the black market.
He's the black market.
The Las Vegas Connect.
I think he was more at the Nvidia side. He said he got to check out or look at one of those video cards that they had there, the 5080. So I think he was doing some window shopping, really. Modern Vegas gamer. I did have some regret not going to CES, so I might try to go out there next year. Although at this point I wouldn't have been good. Yeah, I know I wouldn't have been in good position to go this year anyway. But I would like to go there. It looks pretty cool. Looks interesting.
I honestly I heard that aside from like the main things, it was actually a pretty mellow floor. I had a vendor friend that's out there, and he was sending me pictures of stuff, and he was like, "Yeah, it kind of sucks this year. Like, there's not a whole lot of craziness. I mean, obviously, some of the stuff that appeals to me probably did not appeal to them, or appeals to us didn't appeal to him. But yeah, CES just seems, and 2 years ago, I had another friend go, and they were showing me pictures of the show floor, and it was like you had to evacuate. Like there was like nobody there on the floor, and it was like he was like, man, yeah, like it was either last year or the year before that. But yeah, so it seems like a very hit or miss sort of thing, but it could be a good time.
Okay. Well, outside of that, we have a lot of accessory makers. They keep announcing cases, grips, screen protectors. We're to the point where the Switch 2 itself might show up before Nintendo even announces it. But images keep showing up. One of the system on, it looked like the top part, and then the case for the where the card goes in for the game, that was open. But the thing that really, really got people's interest is the Joy-Con. Because on its side, it has that optical sensor, it looks like, which people then link to it being a mouse. So the idea maybe is that one of the big twists Nintendo has is to bring mouse controls. I don't know. I mean, you're not going to really have a keyboard, I guess, on hand, but the idea of having a mouse controller set up with the Joy-Con, I guess in tabletop mode mostly. I mean, technically, if it's in dock mode, you could take the Joy-Con and, I don't know, put it on a table or just an armrest or something next to you and use it that way. But if this is the big twist, how do people feel about the idea of a mouse being integrated into the system that way?
I mean, you don't know. It could flip open like a sidekick, have a little keyboard. Be good.
That's
that
true.
Could be the tabletop mode.
True.
You got
Like
two USB slots now, John. You plug in a keyboard right into it.
I kind of like this mechanic. I feel like it wouldn't take over because you can't really use it in every form factor. It'd just be like a cool option, which I think is cool.
It's like an extra thing, kind of.
Yeah.
That's probably like when they had the Joy-Con, like when they did the demonstration and he's sitting there with the Joy-Con showing the ice in the cup. And so I kind of feel like it's going to be like, okay, it's also a mouse, which.
Yeah, like a non-intrusive like gimmick. I think that's what
Yeah.
I just hope they use it more than the IR sensor got used in the Joy-Con.
It won't be.
Probably not. But I do think if Nintendo legit, if this is to be believed, and it seems like it is, there was even some more like firmware data mining that popped up mentioning mouse functionality. And I just think if they're going to build it into the console, it might be cool because one, Nintendo at least has one wacky game idea to utilize that with heavily. And then two, like the next Mario Maker or whatever, that would be, a shoe in. Mario Paint 2 makes a debut, who knows? But yeah, if it's optional, it's not like the whole gimmick of the system. And I think that's what we're going to see. Like it is another Switch this time around, which I'm fine with. But having some extra wacky stuff. And then we could get like a third party accessory manufacturer that straight up makes a legit mouse for it. And let's just hope they have like a wireless keyboard enabled, and you'd be good. So mouse and keyboard support. Next Call of Duty comes out, and it's on Switch 2. you got headshots on the Switch 2 with mouse and keyboard.
Yep. I'm picturing like Civ, like Civilization makes a lot of sense for that. Mario Maker and Mario Paint would be the big ones. Like a new Mario Paint would actually be kind of interesting. So I'm trying to think of like the weird stuff they would add to that, because people think of Mario Paint, they think of like all the other things that come along with that rather than just a paint program. It's like Sean's favorite game.
I love Mario Paint, and I love the 64DD Mario Paint stuff too. You know what I want though?
I'm
saying you know it. You should know it.
What?
Command and Conquer Remastered.
That could happen.
You don't have to play it with just a controller. Yeah.
I mean, they never put it on consoles. EA could use something. And why the fuck would I cry if Halo comes to PS5?
Maybe he knows something like about the future, like you're gonna lose a loved one that day.
Yeah, like that's the most random thing I've ever read, and they didn't follow up on it. So now I'm just confused.
We can we can ask about that when we get to the Halo topic. But the idea of a mouse being built in, I think that is an interesting idea overall, because that does seem like the weird thing Nintendo would do, and then kind of add that little twist to the just more functionality for the Joy-Con itself, which it looks so simple, the little controller piece, but there's so much stuff it can do. So it also makes me wonder what their plans are for that top USB port. Because there are 2 USB ports, one at the top, which very simple if you have any of these PC gaming handhelds. But now I'm seeing the mouse being used there. I'm trying to figure out the other things they can do with that top USB, things that snap onto it.
I feel like it also could be as simple as we know you guys couldn't charge the Switch in tabletop mode last time, so here you go.
It absolutely could be that. You're right, Josie.
I feel like it might be a fairly simple thing.
It's gonna be so funny when they show that, because it's gonna be like them putting the LAN port on the dock. How that was like this revolutionary thing. They're just gonna set up and just plug the power cord in the top. Man, look at this. Okay, thanks Nintendo.
We solved everything.
Yeah. So many people wanted that top USB-C port when it first got revealed from that prototype thing to be a second attachable screen. Nintendo fans want dual screen gameplay to come back so bad. And I'm not saying it's a bad idea to sell a second screen as an optional accessory, but the cost behind that and the development for the games to utilize it, who knows? But
they could absolutely do that if that's like a high speed USB or Thunderbolt or something. They could easily do that if they wanted. And maybe they just make it so you connect 2 Switch 2s together, and that's how they sell you 2 of them.
God almighty.
Hey, you can't rule that out with Nintendo. That might be the move. We need multiple Switch systems per person per household. That's how you make it happen. I can have a hinge and everything. The whole thing could be a little barrier that goes between them. You connect them both, and it folds closed. That would be ridiculous. You imagine how
the Switch 2 DS. There we go.
Man, that might actually happen.
No,
actually, here's a good question. How expensive do you think this system's going to be when it drops? Now that we've had so much information about this thing,
400.
I think 400 too.
450.
I'm kind of getting a little sketched out on the 400 price now. I'm kind of wondering if it's 450 or more.
Something was going around online. It was one of those retail listings, but I don't know how legit this one was, where it had a bunch of placeholders for the console. And I didn't look into this part, but somebody was saying that the prices that they saw would translate to 500 US.
Yeah, that was there was a French website that had that, and then there was another person today that said it was in Canada. It was going to be 400 Canadian, which really doesn't make sense, because that would be
it's like $2 American.
Yeah, that's like $2 in America. So, that doesn't make much sense. But
I wonder if it's going to be multiple SKUs though.
What do you do?
How
do you justify it?
Yeah, at launch.
What was the justification though?
Bigger storage size or something, or
storage size,
or
and maybe
OLED.
one of them is just. It could be OLED. Maybe one of them is just the digital system.
Oof.
Oh God, I don't think they would do
that.
that
Would
yet.
scare
Switch
me.
all digital.
That. Yeah, adorably all digital Nintendo Switch 2.
I think that they they're the company to hang on to that for the longest. Like, there's
I
no
think
way.
so too. Some people were really worried that when Furukawa said backwards compatibility is a thing, that he only means like eShop stuff. But I think out of all the companies, Nintendo's hanging on to physical the longest, and they treat physical, like when they talk about it, they treat it the same. Although we're starting to see them shadow drop some first party stuff digital day one, and then physical has to wait. So,
But physical's pretty big in Japan, right?
it is.
Like,
yeah.
I don't see them moving away from that until Japan moves away from it.
Well, if you move away from it and they don't have a choice, then they move away from it.
Yeah,
Anti-consumer.
I mean, yeah, that's how all digital happens. It's not,
It's terrible.
it's just like, hey,
Actually
we can make
terrible.
more money. Let's
What
do
if-
this instead.
What if they do like the $400 price point US, but it's kind of similar to like what we saw Microsoft and Sony do, where in a lot of other regions around the world, it's like more equivalent to a 450, 500 price point.
Yeah, that's a good point. It could be regionally priced. You could be right on that, because the exchange rates have just fluctuated so much that it wouldn't shock me if that were the case. What I think back on right now is how we were, like, a lot of us, myself included, really off on that PS5 Pro price. Like we really had these expectations of like, yeah, you know what, it can't be that much. And then it was, and then it'd be more than we thought, because you also wanted the disc drive. I don't know. It's just in the back of my mind. Like, would it be $50 more than the OLED right now? I don't know. That seems kind of strange to me.
I just feel like there's no way they can get away with that. They're like the prosumer company, more so than anything else, right?
Well, Mario Odyssey is still $60, so I don't know about all that.
Go pick up a copy of 3D All Stars from me, Josie.
Yeah.
All right. That's true.
Nintendo likes to make money on their hardware too, so that's a lot of this stuff is like throwing me off a bit right now. And I just see the market. All these handhelds that are coming out are so expensive, and if they can cut it down as much as possible, it's still more expensive than the Switch 2 that we think. A lot of stuff's changed since the Switch came out at 300. I don't know. It seems tough to be optimistic around the price point being, for me anyway, $400. But hey, if they do it, I'll be like, that's a good price actually for the system, just based on the market.
They definitely need to drop the Switch OLED price if that's the case. Like, do away with the base model, or put the base model at $250 and bring OLED down to $300. Because I agree, sitting next to each other on a shelf, it makes zero sense to have an OLED model at $350 and a Switch 2 at $400.
Right. I almost wonder if they redesign it and re-release something new and change the price. Go, Josie.
They've always been such like a family, or they want kids and families to go for this thing, right? So like, I just can't see them going for that premium of a price, because that feels like something you cannot give a kid.
That new president said, "Fuck them kids."
Did he?
Yeah.
He did the math.
I mean, maybe.
He knows the bulk of the income is from adult nerds.
I'm gonna be appalled if this is more than $400. I feel like there's no way.
I think either way, after like a year or two, they'll have their Switch 2 Lite system, and they'll work to get the price down somehow. But
True.
If it is above 400, it won't shock me, is what I'll say. But if it is 400, I'll be like, okay, cool, pleasantly surprised. Then I'll take it from there. So, I mean, it's 256 gigabytes of onboard storage. It should be pretty fast storage as well. I don't know. It's like, remember when the first Switch showed up and it was like 32 gigabytes of technically slower storage, and we were still sitting at $300 in 2017 versus now. Like, how much has inflation changed that?
Like a good $100. Like, I feel like that's why I feel like 400 is good.
Yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting. That's the part I'm really curious about. We kind of already know the chipset and stuff that's going to be in the system. It's like, how do they put it all together in a reasonable price point with a dock in the box too? So
I got my dock in the box.
Yeah, thank you.
Gotta buy the power supply separately, maybe. It'll be great.
I mean, look, we had even GameStop showed up with these SKUs that people were taking pictures of in the computer system, and it showed micro SD Express. That's as a newer storage medium that is extremely fast, 900 megabytes or so a second. And I mean, they're going to move to eliminate load times, it seems like, which is good, because the Switch load times now, people talk about the visuals and the frame rates and stuff. Man, something that's really tough to go back to now after dealing with PS5 and Xbox Series are the load times. When that pops up and it's like a minute plus, you're like, oh, forgot about this. This is a thing, isn't it? So get rid of those load times.
We're gonna need those. day one too, because if we get, you think about the Switch library being backwards compatible, and so all those games carry forward, and then 256, and I do believe it's shipping with that also, because that's in the data that people have been tracking. That's not very much for modern day games. Like the Nintendo versions may be more condensed, and even that patent with DLSS talked about upscaling like a lower resolution, so it wasn't so much space and stuff like that. But still, Call of Duty is going to be 40 gigs minimum, and so if you have
if we're lucky.
Yeah, if we're lucky. So we're going to have, a 256 console based storage, and the operating system has to fit on that. Like you're going to need one of those SD Express cards. But I'm glad to see the Express thing. That seems like a big win.
Yeah, absolutely is. And which I assume it's gonna run a test on your SD card to make sure it's the right speed. And so any SD cards you have now, I don't think are going to be
shove them up your ass.
So you might want to start. I don't want to say buy them now because we don't have official confirmation from Nintendo, but keep that in mind. You'll probably have to upgrade your storage in some way.
They're not super expensive or anything though.
No,
yeah, but I mean, would you
with the Switch?
I kind of want to meet the person who buys a bunch of them and all the Genki stuff, and then the system comes out and doesn't do any of it, isn't shaped the way anyone believes.
Oh yeah, nobody,
yeah, you fucked up.
Nobody should buy anything right now. I would no pre-orders, none of that. Then
remember when
Go ahead.
Sean, you remember when the Switch came out and we had that 400 gigabyte card show up? Who was, I think SanDisk did it or something, and it was what was it, like $300, $400? It was something crazy in terms of pricing. So at least we're not dealing with that.
Yeah, I mean the SD card prices have come down substantially, so that's a good thing.
Okay, we did have also a French retailer started posting different SKUs for what appear to be Switch 2 titles. So they started to appear. All this again kind of adding up to maybe a reveal coming up here pretty soon, but we'll get to that. But it seems so far people have gone through and just started to sort of pile up and figure out which publishers have what games. So Bethesda apparently has 3 titles listed, Electronic Arts 4 titles, Bandai Namco 2 titles, Square Enix 5, Take-Two Interactive 2, and then Warner Bros. Games 2. Now, some of the games people are kind of pointing towards include Tekken 8, FIFA was listed. That would be wrong. It'd be FC. And then Red Dead Redemption 2, maybe. Just as some, I'm going to say educated guesses.
I don't like this leak. I'm not a big fan of it. I think it's...
Why, Sean? Why is that?
I think it's bullshit.
Interesting. Okay.
That's way too many games for these third-party companies. Let's be real. That's way too many.
I would say 14. In general, yes. And it's not like they're necessarily all there day one, but do you not think because of the amount of like PS4, Xbox One / series and PS5 games that have just been sitting there that never got a native port to Switch, that a lot of these companies have just like they're going to have them ready to go more or less, or at least within the launch year?
Maybe, but even if it is launch year, I don't think some of to me that sounds like if stuff is already appearing, this is like first 2 months of launch window. It's you're not. I don't think you're factoring in holiday 2025 games and stuff like that, and that's kind of a red flag with this for me. Not saying that it's not true. I just just looking at that and kind of. I mean, John, you worked fucking retail. You know how that works. Like, doesn't that seem like a lot to you?
I mean, it seems like quite a few. Although sometimes I will say we'd get something added into the system that doesn't even have a release date, and we're not expecting it for multiple years. I'm sure Metroid Prime 4 has been in some of these systems for a decade now, almost just sitting there.
But that's been
on Amazon. It almost has, yeah. It's December 31st every year. It just keeps getting pushed back.
But about that. That game's already been confirmed. We're now talking about unconfirmed games that nobody is supposed to know about popping up. And plus, Metroid Prime 4 had the whole we got to redo it because we gave it to Bandai Namco for some reason situation. So I don't know. I think that's a little different.
Well, here's the thing with this, right? I'm looking at the listings here, just in general at the number. And look, so Take-Two Interactive. You know which game one of those is, Sean. You already know.
Red Dead 2.
What game do you buy every year from Take-Two?
And
2K.
5?
2K.
NBA.
There you go. One of them's NBA. That would make sense. And EA, what we know what FC is one of them. I mean, what are the other games they have that go to these systems every year?
Madden never came to Switch.
No, but that's what I mean though. With the other systems that seem like it would be a good time to start making moves on the new system, Madden would make a lot of sense now to get that moved over. Could have a need for speed in there, also very possible. So those are the kind of things I'm thinking of. What are games that would port over that it feels like these companies maybe have waited for a while, and finally they can make that move? Just trying to add up how there'd be so many listings.
The Jedi Fallen Order and Survivor games from EA also, you know, like those should run on Switch 2 just fine.
Yep. And Warner Bros. Apparently one of them, I think Doc Trey noted that it could be Gotham Knights.
Oh boy.
Everyone's real excited, I know. Don't get too excited, everyone.
Solid pickup.
Josie's finally going to play through Gotham Knights.
Nobody is going to play through Gotham Knights.
Yeah, I don't blame him. And what was another one I had in here?
Wasn't there a rumor that one of those games was COD?
Which one would be COD? Let me see. Well, COD's coming. COD's gonna happen.
Like the new one, do you think?
Oh yeah, this year's Call of Duty should be there for Switch 2, and you should have Warzone as well. That should all be there. So Microsoft, we're gonna talk about them in a minute. They're gonna have a big presence on Switch 2 this year. Actually, like going forward, like every year, just about.
Yeah.
So yeah, Call of Duty, you'll see that, Joe. Are you gonna play? You're gonna play that on the Switch too, I assume.
Maybe, I don't know. I have a PC now, so probably not. Honestly.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
More of a PC shooter girl now, you know.
There better be borders.
There's gonna be crossplay enabled.
Yeah, I better be able to turn that shit off. I'm tired of these fucking PC players.
I thought they took that out. Like you can't turn it off anymore.
Well, put it back.
So I mean, Square Enix, 5 of them, which we're gonna talk about Square in general. We may have honestly filled out those all 5 almost at this point.
What is going on?
Why do people think you hate Halo so much?
I don't know. It's weird.
Tell them that you love it. You have to overcorrect.
No, I kind of like that people think that.
Oh, well, okay. All this in mind, rumors now about the Switch 2 being revealed next week.
I think it's a possibility.
I think they got to get this thing revealed in January. I don't think they're going to do it in 2 weeks. That 20th or the 24th that week. I don't think it's happening there. So if I had to take an educated guess, it is either next week or it's the final week in January.
I hope not the final week. I got a bunch of doctor's appointments. I think I'm gonna cancel one of them though. 2 in a week.
I don't.
What are we doing here?
There is a Discord rumor floating around. I don't think that's right because I don't think they do it on a Friday.
I saw that PS5 Pro guy or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
He also said that Switch 2 was going to be unveiled, and then they unveiled the Llama.
Right. That's right. Yeah.
Good times. This time though, they dropped the Game Boy Lego set, so they did announce a handheld. I think it is either. I mean, next week could happen. Absolutely. I just don't think it's happening in 2 weeks because Xbox with their developer direct and Nintendo is becoming more and more aware of when Microsoft does their events now, is what I'll say, because we'll talk about it in a minute, but they're very much invested now with Microsoft with that kind of stuff. So this week or the final week, either way, I think they're doing it before the next time they put out an investors report, which is February 2nd or February 3rd. Basically, it's the first couple of days of next month. So anyone want to take a guess? Next week or the final week?
I say next week.
I like next week too. And originally I was like, Donkey Kong Country Returns HD, but it was pointed out and I saw it talked about online. Some people were saying Nintendo won't do that. They technically did that with the Switch 1 reveal whenever Mario Party came out on the 3DS in the same week or something like that. And so, yeah, I think next week looks likely, but I'm on board if it's not that week. And I agree that next week with the Xbox Developer Direct and other stuff going on that week, I don't think they'll do it then. So then it becomes the final week, but before their next investor briefing, because every piece of information we've gotten from Nintendo or update officially from them around this console has been in line with those investor briefings. I don't think they go another one without being able to say, hey, you guys saw the console and you know what the idea behind it is.
I got no problem with them running over Donkey Kong Country HD. No problem at all.
The second time port, they already brought it to 3DS. They're bringing it to Switch. So I don't think it needs like undivided attention.
Nope. Run that game over, back up, run it over again. Don't care. The Switch 2 is next week. I'm good.
Be careful.
Next week
There's
makes
lots of
sense,
people.
but I'm so worried that like I'm gonna get excited and then it's not gonna happen.
Keep your, just don't get excited.
See, that's what I do. That's what I just don't think it's ever gonna happen. And
It's
then I'm
never,
like, okay,
it's never gonna happen.
it's gonna happen March 31st in my head still.
There you
So,
go.
Well,
That's the best
Andy
mindset to
Robbins-
have, technically.
Exactly.
Yeah. I saw Andy Robinson mention that they're just going to do the similar thing with the Switch. That's the anticipation, which I think most people agree with. Show some sort of 3-minute trailer just to show the system. Maybe they'll go to an airport again, and then there'll be an actual presentation 2 months later in March, May. Or no, I guess they probably have to do it the fall, because if it really is going to launch in April, they got to get moving.
It's
So-
Do
funny.
you think we'll get a release date in that first trailer?
I hope so, but I don't know.
That's a good
Did
question.
we get it for the Switch?
No, with the
That
Switch
was at their
they didn't.
January event, right? I think
Yes.
they revealed the release date at their January
But
event.
we already knew about their big launch title, which was Breath of the Wild. We don't know what the launch title is. So whatever it is, they have to show it in that first trailer, because then they have 3 months to market the thing.
Yeah.
Mario Kart 8 Ultra Deluxe Edition.
No.
Oof.
Super Smash Brothers Complete with all the DLC. And then those are your big games for the year. You're
No,
good to
they
go.
wouldn't do that. They're not going to sell a new console like that.
Yeah, they would.
That's
How
not
many-
how you sell it. Who's going to buy
Business.
that? Everybody bought a Switch.
Everyone who bought a Switch, they're gonna buy a Switch too. Maybe.
No, but it's already backwards compatible. That's terrible.
But you don't. But then you would have to sign up for Switch Online or something. It'd be very expensive to get all of those DLC characters.
You
It's all
cannot launch
bundled.
a damn console with ports, man. You got to give us a Mario, or at
They-
least a new Mario Kart.
I mean, there'll be one, but there's also going to be a ton of ports. I mean, that's how the Switch launched.
well, right, but like not not.
I mean,
day
technically,
one.
Breath of the Wild was a port of
Yeah.
a Wii game.
Okay, true, but they also like that'd be like them launching with Prime 4.
They will probably.
They won't launch
I'm
with
actually
Prime-
not
Prime
opposed to that
Wii.
idea. Yeah. The difference this time is, though, with the ports, they're going to come for Switch 2, but the ports, I think, are going to be more to support Switch 1 from here on out, while Switch 2 is out in the first year. And the differences between the Wii U and this is that this one has backwards compatibility confirmed. So they can't, like, people are going to be
Exactly.
so pissed if they just do another Mario Kart 8 Deluxe port whenever you can play that game via backwards compatibility. And we don't know, it might be enhanced backwards compatibility for certain games, at least. So, yeah.
Honestly, they'll just launch with themes. It'll be
the
fun.
pessimism is just nasty right now.
I think everyone's just ready for this thing to get shown. Like there is more excitement now. People seem more on board with like videos on it discussing.
I was not 3. I saw that and I knew that Archie was.
That was amazing. John
It was
must have
4, damn
highlighted
it.
that.
Oh
Wasn't
my
me.
god! I literally just saw that.
Man, I think I'm ready for it. I think everyone's excited and ready to see this thing. Although there was an article, real quick, I just want to bring this up, that Kotaku wrote about them being a bit disappointed if it is just a better Switch. Is anyone else really having an issue with that? If this system's just a better Switch, is that
We want a
disappointing?
worse one, damn
That's
it.
what I want. Who wants them to
Okay.
switch up the whole mechanic? That'd be so.
I
Dumb.
was confused when I saw that headline. I thought, isn't that what?
John, nobody fucking reads Kotaku. They got to get people there somehow. A hate click is still a click. Let's just listen to all these journalists. Remember, fucking Punch
Oh
Out
my
got
God.
canceled because of stereotypes because they talked to a drunk Nintendo employee at a bar, but then that ended up being bullshit.
Are people offended by Punch Out?
No, there's probably a small sect of people on Twitter. I want more stereotypes in Punch Out. Go fucking crazy with it. South Park levels of stereotypes. Like, it's okay to laugh at yourself and others. Like, it's
Dude, South Park Punch Out would be pretty solid.
hell yeah, it would.
That was always the best part of Punch Out, were the characters. I thought everyone likes those characters.
I want them to put Logan Paul in the next one.
Oh god.
He is Glass Joe.
I just want to hit him.
You want me to DM him? He follows me on Twitter.
No. What?
I'm gonna DM him. Yeah.
Send him this
Don't
clip.
DM
Josie's
I'm gonna-
confused.
I'm gonna
about
DM
this.
him
I
this
want to
clip.
hit him in a game.
No.
He's
We
a
don't-
scammer. DM him. Sure, he's a renowned scammer and maniac.
Josie doesn't know the story around that.
No, you don't.
Cut that part out of the clip before you send it.
Oh yeah.
Around
yeah.
how he
I'll,
like-
I'll have it heavily edited.
Yeah.
got
You
Logan Paul
cannot
following
heavily
individual
edit anything.
words.
Send it to Brett.
Yeah. I mean, it's still a portion of me.
Uh-huh.
Well, we'll look forward to this week. Hopefully we get some kind of announcement from Nintendo. I feel like I wonder if they'll just drop the trailer. Although last time they at least made
Nah,
a
they'll be
heads up of
around.
like 12 hours or something.
I hope they do a heads up. I hope they do at least a full day heads up, but we'll see. Even if it's 12 hours ahead, that's perfectly fine. But yeah, it would be wild to wake up and just like 7 a.m., or whatever time it's just already live on their channel. I hope that's not the case.
Let's go over to the Xbox Developer Direct. That is happening Thursday, January 23rd. So Xbox announced it 2 weeks in advance for us. So they really wanted people to know about this way early. But they'll be covering 4 games: Doom the Dark Ages, South of Midnight, Clair Obscur, Expedition 33, and then a mystery game, which we'll actually mention here because Nate technically threw it out there during his podcast. It's expected to be Final Fantasy 16. And it's actually expected to shadow drop during this Developer Direct. They're going to release it immediately. I don't think that's going into Game Pass. At least it wasn't mentioned. So I assume it's just going to be an a la carte purchase and it's finally just getting ported over. But that's been a big push by Square Enix to start doing that. However, Doom the Dark Ages, South of Midnight, Clair Obscur, they all still need release dates. So that's a big thing they need to do. And I mean, Doom looks awesome. So I'm hoping that's coming out sooner rather than later, as well as actually all 3 of them look good. I think South of Midnight, the clips they've been showing, the traversal, the combat, all that looks like it flows really well for Compulsion and what they're turning in here. And Clair Obscur looks like a really, really good modernized turn-based RPG that takes a lot of inspiration from things like Lost Odyssey. So I'm actually really looking forward to the show. I think there's going to be a lot of cool stuff here.
Have they commented on what type of multiplayer will be in Dark Ages?
No, I think they've really what they showed us is all we know. I assume that'll be part of this. They'll have kind of like a breakdown of the gameplay and some of the options and stuff.
I hope it's more like normal. I didn't like Doom Eternal's multiplayer.
Oh, you just want a basic arena?
Yes. It was fun. It was
yeah, I love arena shooters. It's just people aren't big fans of them right now. Like,
but
they always want that extra gimmick that doesn't really matter.
But nobody's buying it for the multiplayer. I mean, that's just the added bonus.
Yeah, be you and like 4 other people playing it. It'd be great.
Hey, I used to play. There were people playing.
Oh, dude, yeah.
I played it a ton on the PS4 and a ton on the Switch with the online.
We did that one. We did Quake Lands. Love arena shooters.
It's just fun, and they had the gimmick where you could be like, be the demon and just fucking wreck people and stuff.
Yep.
Like that was super cool. And then they did the weird stuff with the newer one, and I was like, no, thank you.
What did they make it a hero shooter?
Oh, God. Yeah, no, thank you. But yeah, okay. So Doom Eternal's coming, or Final Fantasy 16 is coming to Xbox. It's not selling it. We think it's selling 500,000 copies on a good day. Like, come on, let's be realistic here.
Yeah, probably about that. I mean, honestly, I think it's going to sell, but I think really the big thing here is Square Enix setting up their pipeline for Xbox going forward because they really want to be multi-platform with
because they really want to sell 500,000 copies on Xbox. Like, Xbox games aren't selling; they don't sell. We know this.
You think they'll get a Game Pass check for it at some point? Like maybe not at launch, but like 4 or 5 months after.
They've had other Square Enix games on Game Pass.
Yeah. It might be the one way to get it to, not sell, but, get played on Xbox. They should do that at some point before they start releasing their next games on there, in my opinion, for their multi-platform strategy that they're talking about.
How did Indiana Jones sell? Did we ever get any sales figures, like actual numbers?
I don't think Circana came out yet. I think that's next week, I think. So I think we'll at least get an idea of placement for December. So that'll tell us. Yeah, I think the most we know is that I think it's week when it launched, it was second spot behind Call of Duty. That's all we really know.
The Great Circle is the second best-selling game, ending December 14th in the U.S. Well, maybe that'll translate.
Right, that's like launch week.
But don't you feel like if it sold like a couple million, they would be like, "Hey, thank you to
Bethesda dropped the tweet and everything."
Yeah, thank you to the 3 million people who picked up Indiana Jones. Like that kind of.
I'm more surprised. They seem to like the engagement numbers. This many people signed it and played it. I'm surprised they didn't make that tweet or that PR statement.
Yeah, did they make any sort of PR statement on the sales?
Not really, no.
And was it not? I mean, maybe it wasn't on my feed, but was that game not marketed very heavily? I mean, in your guys' opinion, I'm not saying it did low numbers. I don't know, but it just was. It's almost like I forgot about it, and then it was like, oh yeah, it's the December game. It's out, and I saw everybody talking about it once it was out, but I didn't see a lot of build up to it.
It was depends on where you were looking. Some of the stuff I usually have on my TV over here, it was always playing trailers.
Was
from
it? Okay.
Yeah, and it's hard for me to say that because like I was highly anticipating the game, so like I was going out of my way to look for stuff. I think it was marketed okay-ish, and that's to be fair. I think Xbox's marketing is some of the worst in the world. So to see it felt like a little bit of an improvement because like they just don't seem to understand marketing that well.
I think in the Game Pass era specifically, it's been even worse. When stuff's getting added into Game Pass day and date, it seems like they haven't done as well.
Well, it's if you think about it from a perspective of especially a game that has, because Indiana Jones, correct me if I'm wrong, but the embargo went up when you could buy the game, correct? If you got like the early edition.
Yes.
So there goes a lot of publicity from not just websites, but people that matter, like YouTubers and stuff like that, talking about the game, promoting the game, telling you whether, telling their audience whether they would like the game based on their playthrough of it. That seemed like a weird thing because, like I've said, if that embargo came out a week before the game or even like 3 days before the game, I would have ponied up the $30 to get the early version to play it earlier instead of, I believe I started it on that Sunday. I put 42 hours into that game. I fucking loved it.
It's a good game.
But Microsoft didn't do themselves any favors in terms of getting reviews out there in a timely manner and stuff like that. Plus there's distrust with a lot of websites and stuff like that. Like Microsoft, call me. Now, I'm going to put my arcade on the list, Genki on the list, and Microsoft on the list. Call me. I can help.
Do you think that could be because it came out in December? Like, that's kind of a weird time for games to come out. There was a bunch of hype for different stuff, a lot of discussion.
I mean, but you should be taking over the discussion because what were people talking about in
the game?
But
do you think that could have overshadowed it at all?
That's a Keeley problem because the game should have been at the Game Awards and it should have been the Game of the Year nomination because the Game Awards shouldn't happen in December. It should happen in January when all of the games for the year have come out. I don't care about the rollover of it to where, the December game could be in the next year's show. Nobody's going to fucking remember a single player game December 2025, even with the launch of it on PlayStation 5, because it's still technically a game that has already came and gone.
Fair enough. And finally, I want to talk about some of the games that are apparently being moved to PS5 and Switch 2, and also kind of Xbox technically. We got games flying all over the place, but the big one, and I'm sure a lot of people will be discussing this over the weekend, as Sean mentioned, he's got a video going up. I'm sure Sunbro will have a video going up. It's Halo Master Chief Collection, and also Flight Simulator, to be fair, going to Switch 2 and PS5. Nate made the report on his Nate Hate podcast earlier today. I am inclined to believe him on this. That's what I'll say. I do think he's correct on this one. And it seems that Halo is lined up for a release this year, Master Chief Collection. I had some questions as the logistics of it and how they're going to make it happen. But that would be a major, major shift, I think, for gaming, having a platform mascot like Master Chief, who's, been really Team Green Xbox since 2001, making the push to PS5 and Nintendo with the Switch 2.
If that doesn't drive home Phil Spencer's point of no red tape, I don't know what does, as far as
that was the big one.
That drives home a lot of points about Phil Spencer and Xbox as a brand.
That's a big thing though. Master Chief Collection has all like the legacy Halo games. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, Reach. 5 still isn't in there. They've never added that technically.
That's okay.
ODST's in there, and it's a really cool setup. I checked the file size just to make sure before we started here. 120 gigabytes is what it has on my Xbox right now. So, that's with everything installed. Keep that in mind. It's going to be interesting to see how they fit that on, to me, the Switch 2.
Half the Switch 2 day one. Let's go.
I assume they're just putting Halo 1 on the cartridge, and then you download everything else.
Download the rest, yeah. Oh, I hate that.
Get those express micro SD cards ready, pal. Go ahead and stock up.
Yep. Even though that game was technically designed with a spinning plate hard drive with the Xbox One, still they eliminated a lot of load times already. So
I think they could get that size down though.
Well, yeah, I mean they definitely can, because when you go into it, when we played it, Sean, you're like, oh, I don't have that one installed. They already have it set up to where you can pick and choose which ones to install.
Yeah, because
if you're never playing Halo 4, you just don't tick the box. That's it.
Give me 2 and 3, pal. See ya.
There you go.
Covenant Carbine to your fucking head.
This is going to be big when it's going to be a really weird thing to see, because I was trying to figure out how they would do it. I kind of feel like Microsoft's just going to show up in a Nintendo Direct. Here it is Master Chief Collection. Was that a classic franchise is heading to Switch 2, and then Master Chief just pops up. And then also part of the press release will be like, it's going to PS5 as well.
Make sure you buy our next gen console for reasons. Oh, you can get a 256 gig micro SD express card right now for $40 from
it's $40. They're $40.
Just buy a ton of them. They'll be for every game you get.
Do they make a 1 terabyte yet, or do they not?
The only two they have listed is 128 and 256, but I might pick
okay. I thought I saw a 512 in that GameStop posting, but that might not be out yet.
There was, but I don't think it's out yet. But $40, I might actually just buy one just for the hell of it, because I could always use it, even if it's not Switch 2 compatible. I mean, I can always use a micro SD card.
So, Master Chief Collection, for people who maybe don't know or forgot, it was busted when it came out back in 2015. It took them a good part of a year to fix it, and then even a little more than that. But now it's really good. So I guess that's the one nice thing, is that people who get it now for the first time are going to have an actual good experience with it. Whereas when I bought
hold on,
it didn't work.
Hold on. We got to see the game in action first, John. Come on.
Well, no, yeah, I understand that. Yeah. But I mean, it was designed for the Xbox One VCR. Right. That's what I tried playing it on back when it came out, and it didn't work. The Switch 2 should be much more capable. So I think it'll run fine on the Switch 2. And
do you think they'll do... Go ahead, sorry.
I think it's going to be very interesting to see it on a Switch system right there, even in portable mode, just to see it actually working.
Shipping's high. $13? What are we doing?
Do you think they'll do cross-platform multiplayer for if it's on all platforms? Like that's just a day one thing for Master Chief Collection? I would hope.
Yes, I think they'll also make you sign into an Xbox account.
There you go.
Yeah. For sure.
Yep.
That's the move. Get more people on board, cross-play across the board, I think. So everyone will be playing with everyone, and it'll be interesting to see. Like Xbox accounts across the board, and they'll just claim everyone as concurrent players, and that'll be part of their monthly active users. Switch to, I think that's Microsoft's ultimate plan, to sell this to investors better. Hey, we got all these people who are now part of our ecosystem. Yeah, they're on Switch 2. Yeah, they're on PlayStation 5. Doesn't matter. We still get to harvest their data. We still have, I mean, doesn't be, it's all the stuff that's happening.
Got to give it the right term, harvest.
That money from the microtransactions. So there you go. How's it? So it's a big push by them. Flight Simulator also going to, which actually is a bit easier, because how big was that download, Sean, when you
10
grabbed
gigs.
it? 10 gigs. It all gets streamed in. So that'll work fine too. Sea of Thieves probably will go to Switch 2. I think Nate mentioned that as like a one-off, like, hey, this could happen. Hi-Fi Rush will probably show. Microsoft is, I think, all in on Switch 2. So it's
agreed.
It's going to be interesting to see, because I don't think they're the only company platform holder that's going to look at the Switch 2. I kind of think Sony's going to as well.
Well, they already did.
Yeah, people call it a Lego game but it still has Horizon in the title. It's like they obviously could have kept that platform exclusive, but they saw not just the Lego user base, but they saw the user base of the Switches, and we're going to assume that the Switch 2 is going to be maybe not as successful, but at least close to. I think Sony's going to be eyeing it. If they're doing what they're doing now with PC, there's no reason they're not going to start looking at that with certain games as well.
I think Horizon Zero Dawn's coming to Switch 2.
Mm.
I think that's happening.
See that.
No thanks.
Because it's they desperately want this franchise to be really, really popular.
You already
and I just-
sold a billion copies, though.
It's not enough.
I don't know. The Horizon push is becoming really noticeable, more so than ever with Sony. So that wouldn't shock me. Here's an old game that we released way back in the day and then remade, quote unquote. We'll see if the younger audience with the Switch 2 might pick up on it, and then they'll come check us out with the PS6. So that's man, it's interesting times when it comes to platforms. Josie, you gonna be on this Halo stuff when it drops?
Maybe. I kind of like Halo Infinite, sort of, but I haven't really
it'll
played
be
the
all
other
the
ones.
older ones. It'll be the
Yeah,
old
I
haven't
people
played
ones.
them.
No
It'll be
sprint
the good
button.
ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, Infinite wasn't great, so maybe if I have time.
I also hope. I mean, Nintendo's got to get that online set up to be a bit better. If it's
No.
if we're playing Halo, no, you need voice chat. You got it. Like, come on.
You're still playing kids on the McDonald's Wi-Fi. It won't matter.
That's the other good thing. Sean likes going online on Christmas. Every day is going to be Christmas, Sean, with Halo.
Yep.
That's
Every
true.
day.
Fortnite on Christmas Day is so easy.
It's gonna be
I'll be
so
in
many
fine.
kids just running into walls. It'll be great.
Hey, you
Fucking
put me on
hitting.
PlayStation or you put me on the Switch 2. Hop on. We're rolling. We're rolling through ranked.
I'm
Did you
doing
guys see that
fucking
the guy
super
who-
bounces.
The guy who leaked the PlayStation Pro or whatever is saying that the Switch is coming out. The Switch 2 is getting announced on January
All right.
17th.
Where have you been? We've already discussed this.
Did we say that exactly?
Well, he's the
Well,
Alarmo
we
guy.
kind of alluded to it. We kind of
Yeah,
alluded
he's the
to it.
alarm. Well, he put
that's a-
out like
but
an
that's a
actual
Friday.
date.
But yeah, but
Yeah.
Alarmo was wrong. He
Well,
said it was the
right.
Switch 2 and it ended up being Alarmo. So I'm not.
I
putting
think-
too
I
much
mean,
stock.
I mean, next week could still.
God.
I wouldn't be shocked if it's next week, Josie. I mean, he could make the case that if it gets revealed on Thursday and he's like, oh, it's a time zone difference, or something like that.
That's true.
But,
That's true. It's just an
uh,
educated guess, I guess.
yeah, like next week. If it happens next week, it wouldn't shock me. So
Yeah.
He also said a Mario Kart was coming. Ooh, that'd be shocking.
I thought they were retiring that franchise.
Same.
Another one. Another one's coming. Yeah, I'm excited for Halo on the other platforms. There are going to be a lot of Halo fans that are going to be really annoyed and frustrated. I'm ready for it to happen. Let's get some excitement back in Halo again.
John needs new players.
Yeah,
He
But not
can't
only
keep going through ranked with the same 4 people. It just
Hey.
can't happen.
those 4 people show up. They show up. But hey, be able to roll to level 50, Sean, no problem. I got you.
What do you mean you got me? I'm all right at Halo.
You know what? On the Switch 2,
I'll be fucking
you got
cream
it.
of the crop.
I think you got it. I do.
Play
I
some
do.
Halo 2. I'll fucking super bounce out of the map with a sniper. Cheese all my kills. 'Cause I don't
Flip
care.
my
Sometimes on
Joy-Con
Xbox,
sideways,
Sean has,
get the
like, a little
mouse,
bit of that
flick some
MVG in him.
headshots.
Where he spins in a circle for a minute, but otherwise he'll be fine on the Switch 2.
All right,
That was
get
great.
some super chats, John. You got 10 minutes.
There was that moment where MVG spun in a circle looking for everyone screaming, and we were all
right
there.
That was bad.
MVG is so funny when he plays games sometimes. And Final Fantasy VII Remake, Rebirth. Is anyone surprised to hear that those would also be going to Nintendo's platform?
They need the money, man.
Square Enix pretty much told us in their investor briefing, aggressively multi-platform was their term. So, I mean, and they're not happy with what they've been doing with the PS5 exclusives around Final Fantasy and the sales that they've been getting out of them. So it's like, yeah, go. I mean, the development on those games are done, port them and get them on everything. And Switch 2 is a prime candidate.
Yeah, none of that's shocking to hear that Square would be leveraging Nintendo's platform immediately with this stuff, or even Xbox. We kind of talked about the 16. I think it's still just getting it there, and potentially, as you said, Sunbro, get that Game Pass check in the future to double up. Okay, here we go, Sean. We'll go through them now. Itsuni says Genki disappeared on the CES floor. The booth is gone after Nintendo's non-statement. Then they say they never had seen Switch 2. Nintendo's ninjas got him. I believe more they have had a Switch 2. DVD Night says, great to see Sunbro on the Spawncast. Appreciate you all. This is from Z, who says, catching up on the backlog, which to play next? Death Stranding, Red Dead Redemption 2, The Last of Us 2, Metaphor, or Black Myth Wukong. Oof. Those are all
That's
good
the
choices.
list.
What's the next one
That's
to go to?
It's a lot. You got a lot on your plate there, pal.
Yeah, those are all good games, too. I'm trying to think of which game is the shortest. I guess
Yeah,
out of
save
all these
Metaphor,
games,
whatever
Last
you do.
Last of Us is probably the shortest. Red Dead Redemption will take you forever. That's such a long game. Last of Us 2 might be the move because that's like a 15 to 20 hour game, whereas everything else is like 40 hours plus. Yum Yum says, with a lot of PC handhelds coming out, do you think that Nintendo would push digital release games instead of physical to prevent piracy? I think there's okay, because of the
you gotta hope and imagine that they've improved their anti-piracy measures.
the security measures. Yeah, we'll find out pretty quick because people are going to data mine this thing like crazy when it drops. Absolutely will.
I think the way personally Nintendo will do this is they'll continue to slowly over the course of time incentivize digital purchases with like the game voucher program, and they'll do better sales and stuff that are digital only. But as far as like eliminating physical, that's not going to be a thing, but not anytime soon. But what they will probably start to do even more, as we saw them do this last year, is start to shadow drop, or the last couple of years, is start to shadow drop certain smaller games day one on eShop and then ship out the physical release later on. I think that'll I think they'll start to do like a one shadow drop per direct type of thing.
DC Fat Cat says, RGT, this transmission in our Ford Edge went out. Any SUV recommendations? Lydia likes the Chevy Traverse. I like the Kia Sorento. Help us break the tie.
Honda Pilot.
That's a good one. I can recommend that.
It's a good vehicle. There's a lot in my family.
It is. I have a Pilot. It's a very good car. Very good SUV. Travel Freak says, Ghost of Tsushima is amazing. Almost done with it. Shadow says, RGT, I've been trying to finally play through Shenmue 2. I need a quick 500 to meet with Ren. Do you know where I can go where it won't take too long?
Pawn shops.
Okay.
Sell whatever you got. Yeah, sell whatever you got. Collectibles, whatever.
Itsuni says, top USB port. You don't need the dock to play dock mode. Just use top USB to connect and charge in tabletop. Michael Parker says, I'm still holding out hope that there will be docks with varying degrees of graphical capabilities to be released at some point in the Switch 2 cycle. Yeah, that's a lot of hope in there.
That would be awesome. That's what I want too.
Medallion says, Amazon has started canceling pre-orders for Metroid Prime 4 for Switch. Wonder what that means. Amazon's been going through that with Nintendo a lot. I think this lines up with stuff that's happened every Nintendo release seemingly for Amazon. Could also mean that we're getting close to that Metroid Prime 4 release, which, I mean, yeah, it's coming out this year. So Stud says, really wish PlayStation can bring back Mod Nation. Such a good game. Mod Nation Racers. That's a deep cut. Man. Rican says, super hyped to see you guys going live with the cast again. So much more fun and dynamic and preferred. Hope to use for the majority of episodes this year. Happy New Year to all. Wishing you all the best. Jonathan says, happy. Oh, what happened?
That's a good one as well.
Oh, okay. Got it.
Sorry.
There. Jonathan says, happy Friday, everyone. RGT looking like Parappa the Rapper today. Love it. What new game are you looking forward to playing this January or February?
I don't know.
Donkey Kong.
Jesus. Next. What's coming out in February?
Or maybe it's a Dreamcast game you're looking forward to finally booting up.
You have the Yakuza Like a Dragon game, right? You got Avowed. You have Kingdom Come Deliverance 2.
That's what you're playing, I bet.
No comment. We have
Monster Hunter Wilds.
Tomb
Raider
Remastered. That's end of February, right?
Yeah.
Tomb Raider Remastered's out on Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
I feel like Monster Hunter might be your thing, Sean. You like Monster Hunter Wilds or Monster? Sorry,
I might check out the Ease game that just came out.
Ease 10?
No, Ease Memoir, the Oath of
Memoir. Yeah, I saw that pop up too.
Flagonella.
It's like $30.
It's not bad.
Nah.
I like
Connor says Xbox has not done well with hardware with Call of Duty. Made a loss just announced.
Shocking.
Call of Duty cost them $700 million to make in 2020. And that was Cold War. And that was not one I remembered that much. So that's a shame. That $1 billion price tag for Grand Theft Auto 6 not looking too outlandish anymore, huh? I said that. People are like, there's no way. You sure about that? We sure? Maybe we go up to $1.5 billion now for that. think that's everything. We got everyone there. I'm gonna get Sean out perfectly for the Knicks game soon.
They better fucking beat the
Rest-
Thunder.
Now you have to
Andy
reschedule
Eckers
those
is
doctor's
I've been
appointments.
nation.
Poking fun at my outro there. Very good.
Hey, shout out to Andy. Shout out to Andy. I think I got everything there. Yeah, cool. So let me go around here as we finish up. Sean, where can we find you, sir?
Find me on RGT85. Thank you.
Okay, good stuff. What about our guest, Sunbro Nation? Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I had a great time. Sunbro Nation on everything social media, mainly just here on YouTube is what I'm doing, and I interact occasionally on X because that's where I find all my news. So other than that, that's about it.
Okay, let's go over to Josie. Josie, whoa.
You can find me on YouTube at Josie Woe. I talk about Nintendo and stuff like that. Thank you for having me on. Glad to be back.
Check out Game and Talk.
Yeah, obviously, guys.
They did an episode this week, and it was about more Switch 2 stuff. Go figure. So
We had
check that
Sunbro
out.
on.
Yeah, this is literally just
there too.
Game and Talk 1.5.
Yeah, it's a little bit new stuff.
Oh, with Halo.
Yeah, with
Yeah.
And then Evan.
You can find me on YouTube and socials at Kimrick's Project for anything tabletop. We should be streaming tomorrow. I did just get a notification that my package just came in with all the stuff I ordered, so we can finish building this thing. That'll be fun.
Okay, good stuff. Thanks everyone for joining us. We'll be back next Friday night. Spawncast with hopefully my voice better, so we can go the full 2 hours. Hopefully. I'll see you guys then.
Complete mute.